Thanks for having me, Sandeep. Yeah, I currently had a security engagement for Prime Video, where I run a program that really works on advanced security controls for various parts of the business.
Hi, everyone. Sandeep here, co-founder and CEO at Defense. Mike, thank you so much for making time for this one. Fourth webinar that we're doing in the series of, how top tech tier companies essentially, operationalize security at scale. And you know what? I took a detour, and there is one more question that has come up, which I think is pretty interesting. The question, Mike, is to you. It says, given the needs of context to better prioritize and fix issues, can we now say that the debate is no more about agent versus agentless, but it is about context versus no context? That's the question, Mike, to you.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it. I'm sure as I noodle on that more, I'd have some more ways to expand on that. Yeah. But as I think, right, as your infrastructure scales and as it's very big, everything needs to feed into some sort of prioritization engine, right? And I think it rehashes some of the things that we talked about. But the better you can make decisions faster, preferably automated, ideally automated, although you never reach 100%, right? That's what you want to strive for. I think agents have gotten easier than they've been in the past. Like one of the biggest, challenges to agents, and this challenge did exist or still exists. It hasn't gone away. Is I don't want to go install code everywhere and then have to maintain it and support it. And then you look at things like SolarWinds and it's a supply chain risk. There's a whole bunch of reasons people don't want to do agents. Now that being said, things at scale have got automation and basically, automation and orchestration has matured a lot over the years, and it's a lot easier to manage those agents and update them and operate in an agent model versus an agentless model. Now, so I do see a lot to that question.
Absolutely, Mike. I completely agree with you. In fact, you know what? Agent versus agentless debate was really about operationalizing some of these basic controls, and agentless was easier. Sure, it solved that problem, but it never solved the other bit, which was the depth that you needed. And I think it's sort of a foregone conclusion now that you always needed both. That debate just wasn't about accuracy, depth, or all of that stuff. Really, it was mostly about what is easy to deploy. Can I get my first check marks done quickly? It was never about depth. It was mostly about operationalizing basic controls in place. You've done that. You need depth now. You need deeper, telemetry. You need actual runtime security and stuff like that. Really, right? So that's how I always looked at it, Mike.
Yeah, that's good. I'd say that agents are providing a lot more value than I would say some of the times they did in the past. I think of I was doing an endpoint project forever ago, and this was before the FireEye days, where the average, I want to say, right, FireEye stats at the time, where the average antivirus was somewhere around 15% effective. Yeah. So, right, that's a lot of work, and that's really expensive to run agents for 15% effectiveness as a security control. So what do? The other thing that's really changed is, while trust boundaries and network boundaries are more clear, it's a lot harder to choke the traffic. It used to be just put a firewall in front of it, and then the firewalls got really smart. So you got things like the old checkpoints that could identify sort of traffic, and then Palo Alto revisited it with, hey, we're going to actually make sure it's clear HTTP coming over the, if this firewall rule says HTTP, we're going to make sure it's HTTP. Yeah. But and that's provided a lot of value, because business logic could align with technical logic. You could have security engineers talk to a business person, go, I don't need port 80 open both directions. I just need HTTP to this server. Right. And that's kind of what that application centric on the wire approach solved. But what's happened is that network choke has gotten highly distributed. Because highly distributed, and you can't easily guarantee those flow paths. So without that, right, like agents, my view is agents are kind of the model to help solve that problem.
Absolutely. And you absolutely put it correctly, which is, hey, you're no longer putting kernel modules, you're no longer putting proxies. They are not in code agents. It's all eBPF, and it's easy. It's already there. All you're doing is going and programming it, fetching all the deeper telemetry that just makes everything more easier to detect and protect. Really, yeah. So it makes total sense. Okay.
Listen to the full webinar at deepfence.io/resources.